Lily, stop!
I can't! Lily, wait! Come back! Don't go! Lily!
All right, well, hold on.
I didn't mean to ruin anything. I really tried.
Sounds like you tried too long.
Runaway bride jumps into a taxi, not knowing the driver is a lonely tycoon. Hello, fans. This is another one from Mr. Hope. Let's all enjoy. The church doors didn't feel holy anymore. They felt heavy, like they were closing in on Lily Monroe's chest, one slow breath at a time. Outside, the sun was shining the way it always did in downtown Atlanta. Bright, warm, careless. Inside, everything smelled like roses and expensive perfume, and somebody else's decision. The aisle runner was white. The flowers were white. Even Lily's smile had been practiced to look white, clean, perfect, and harmless. But her hands were shaking so badly the bouquet trembled. "Smile," her auntie whispered from the first pew, eyes sharp. "Everybody's watching." Everybody was watching. Phones were raised like little spotlights. The bridesmaids looked nervous, like they knew something was off, but didn't dare name it. Lily's mom sat near the front, dressed in pale blue, face tired and thin, trying so hard to look proud. And Lily. Lily stood at the front of the room, inches away from a man who looked like stability, James Carter. Tall, polished, the kind of man who never had to ask twice for respect. His suit was custom, his smile calm, his whole life arranged like a boardroom plan. He leaned toward her and murmured, low enough that the guests couldn't hear. "Relax," he said. "You're acting like you're about to run." Lily's throat tightened. She stared at his hand. The ring was ready. The future was ready. The cage was ready. The pastor's voice floated through the sanctuary. "Lily Monroe, do you take James Carter?" Lily tried to breathe. She tried to remember why she was here. Her mum's medical bills, the eviction notices, the way her dad's pride broke the night James offered help, like it was charity and not a trade. The way Lily had promised herself it was worth it if it saved her family. Then James squeezed her fingers, not gently, a warning squeeze. His smile never changed, but his eyes said something else. "Don't embarrass me." And right then, Lily understood the truth that had been hiding under all the wedding planning. James didn't want a wife. He wanted a possession. The pastor repeated, "Do you take him?" Lily opened her mouth, and nothing came out. She could hear her heartbeat louder than the organ music. She could feel sweat gathering at the back of her neck under the lace. Her knees threatened to fold, and suddenly the whole room felt like it was tilting. James leaned in again, still smiling for the crowd. "If you mess this up," he whispered, "don't expect me to keep paying for your mother's care." The words hit her like a slap. Lily blinked, once, twice. Then the air changed. Something inside her, something that had been quiet for years, sat up straight. The pastor said her name again, softer now, concerned. "Lily?" And Lily heard herself speak, clear as a bell. "I can't." Gasps rippled through the church. James's grip tightened, his smile freezing. Lily stepped back. Her voice rose, shaking but loud enough for everyone. "I'm sorry. I can't do this." The room erupted. Her aunt stood up so fast her hat nearly fell off. Someone whispered, "Oh my God!" A bridesmaid covered her mouth. Her mother's eyes widened, not angry, just afraid. James leaned toward Lily, teeth still smiling while his eyes went dark. "Lily," he hissed, "don't!" But Lily turned. She grabbed the front of her dress and ran. She ran down the aisle with her veil bouncing behind her like a flag of surrender. She ran past stunned guests, past the floral arch, past the heavy doors, and when she pushed outside, the sunlight hit her like freedom. Her heels slipped on the steps. She didn't care. She stumbled onto the sidewalk, breathing like she'd been underwater her whole life. Behind her, the church doors swung open. She heard voices calling her name. She heard James's furious shout, and then she saw it, a taxi rolling slowly by the curb. Lily lifted her arm like her life depended on it. "Stop! Please, stop!" The driver hit the brakes. The car jerked to a halt. Lily yanked the back door open and threw herself inside, dress and all. "Go!" she gasped. "Just go!" The driver turned slightly, eyes meeting hers in the mirror. He was a black man, early 30s, calm face, strong jaw, a simple cap pulled low. Not flashy, not loud, just steady. For a second, he didn't ask questions. He just nodded. "All right," he said, voice deep and smooth. "Hold on." The taxi pulled away from the curb, and Lily, still trembling in her wedding dress, watched the church shrink behind her through the rear window, not knowing that the man driving her into the unknown wasn't just a taxi driver at all. He was the loneliest tycoon in the city, and fate had just put her in his back seat. The taxi didn't just move, it escaped. Lily felt the tires roll over the street like a decision being made for her. Final, irreversible. The city blurred past the windows in bright streaks, storefronts, traffic lights, people walking like it was an ordinary day. Like a bride hadn't just run from a church in the middle of downtown Atlanta. Her breath came in sharp, uneven pulls. She kept twisting around to look behind them, waiting to see James's car flying up with rage in its headlights. But all she saw was distance, and the farther the church got, the more her body remembered how to breathe. The driver didn't talk right away. He only drove, steady hands, patient speed, eyes forward like the road was the only thing that mattered. The inside of the taxi smelled faintly of clean leather and cinnamon. A soft gospel song played low on the radio, like the car itself was trying to calm her down. After a minute, Lily realized her hands were clenched so tight her nails had bitten into her palms. She forced them open. The driver finally spoke, voice low and careful. "You hurt." Lily swallowed. Her throat felt like paper. "No," she whispered. Then, after a beat, I don't think so." He nodded slowly, like he believed her, but not enough to stop paying attention. "You got somewhere you want to go?" Lily's mouth opened, and nothing came out, because the truth was, she didn't. Her apartment key was probably still on the dresser at home. Her phone was in her bouquet bag, somewhere between chaos and tears. And even if she did go home, her family would be there. The church aunties, the whispers, the disappointment dressed up as concern. Lily stared at the seat in front of her, voice trembling. "Anywhere," she said. "Just anywhere but back." For the first time, the driver glanced at her through the mirror, not with judgment, not with pity, just with something quiet, something familiar. "All right," he said again, like those were his favorite words. "Anywhere it is." He took an exit Lily didn't recognize, cutting into a side road that avoided the busiest roads. They passed a strip of beauty supply stores and small restaurants, then dipped into quieter streets lined with old trees and modest homes. Lily's chest tightened again, because quiet left room for thoughts. Her mind replayed the moment at the altar, James's voice like a knife under a smile. "Don't expect me to keep paying for your mother's care." The humiliation burned all over again. Lily pressed her forehead to the cool window and blinked hard. "I didn't mean to ruin anything," she said suddenly, like confessing to the air. "I really tried." The driver didn't answer immediately. Then he said, "Sounds like you tried too long." Lily's eyes shifted to the mirror again. "What?" He kept driving, tone calm. "A woman don't run out of church like that unless she's been running inside for a while." That hit somewhere deep. Lily let out a shaky laugh that almost became a sob. You don't even know me. He shrugged slightly, one hand on the wheel. Don't gotta know your whole life to recognize fear. Silence returned, but it wasn't empty now. It was thoughtful. Lily's voice came quieter. My mom's sick, she admitted. Cancer, the bills, they're drowning us. James offered to help, but it wasn't help. It was a deal. The driver's jaw tightened for a second, like he understood that kind of deal too well. What's your name? He asked. Lily hesitated. Saying her name felt like making this real. Lily, she finally said. He nodded once. All right, Lily. She waited. And you? She asked. A pause, small, almost like he had to decide something. Marcus, he said. The name settled in the air between them. Lily watched his shoulders rise and fall with controlled breathing. The kind of calm that didn't come from peace, but from practice. Like he'd learned how to keep his feelings locked where nobody could touch them. They drove a little longer until the city noise softened and streetlights became fewer. Then Marcus slowed near a small, warm-lit diner on the corner. Open late, with a neon sign buzzing gently. He turned slightly, eyes meeting hers in the mirror again. You haven't eaten, he said, and you're shaking. Lily tried to argue, but her stomach betrayed her with a faint growl. Marcus's mouth lifted, barely a smile, but real. Come on, he said. First thing we do is breathe. Second thing, we get you some food. And for the first time since that church, Lily believed she might survive what she'd done. Because somehow, in the back seat of a stranger's taxi, she didn't feel alone anymore. The diner door chimed as they stepped inside, and warmth wrapped around Lily like a blanket. It smelled like butter, coffee, and late-night comfort, like the kind of place that didn't ask questions unless you wanted to answer them. A ceiling fan spun lazily overhead, and a few tired customers sat in booths with slumped shoulders and half-finished plates. The neon open sign hummed softly in the window. Lily stood frozen for a moment in her wedding dress, suddenly aware of how she looked. Mascara smudged, veil crooked, shoes dusty from running. A waitress behind the counter glanced up, and the surprise in her eyes lasted only a second before she replaced it with something gentler. Y'all okay? She asked, voice sweet with southern care. Marcus nodded for both of them. We good, just need a booth. The waitress grabbed 2 menus and guided them to a corner booth near the window, away from most eyes. Lily slid in, still clutching the fabric of her dress like she might disappear if she let go. Marcus sat across from her, calm as ever. A moment later, the waitress returned with 2 glasses of water without even asking. What can I get you, baby? She asked Lily, leaning closer like she could sense the shaking under her skin. Lily blinked, trying to focus. Her voice cracked. She cleared her throat. Coffee, please. And pancakes, Marcus added smoothly. And eggs. Whatever y'all got that comes quick. The waitress gave him an approving look like she liked his tone. Say less. When she walked away, silence slipped into the space again. But it wasn't awkward, just heavy. Lily stared at the tabletop, tracing invisible lines with her fingertip. She felt like her whole life had been ripped open in one day, and now she was sitting under a humming diner light, pretending she still knew who she was. Marcus didn't rush her. He sipped his water, eyes scanning the room once, then returning to her like he'd decided she mattered more than anything else in here. Finally, Lily whispered, Why are you helping me? Marcus leaned back slightly. His voice stayed low. Because you looked like you needed somebody to. That simple answer almost broke her. Lily swallowed hard and looked out the window. Cars passed by, headlights cutting through the dark. Somewhere out there, her phone was probably buzzing with calls. Her aunties probably had a whole prayer chain going. James was probably furious, and her mother. Lily's lips trembled. My mom is gonna be scared. Marcus nodded once. You can call her when you're ready. I don't even know what to say, Lily admitted. Everybody thinks I'm selfish. Everybody thinks I just threw away everything. Marcus's eyes didn't flinch. Maybe you threw away what was killing you. Lily turned back toward him, startled. He didn't smile, he didn't soften it, he just said it like truth. The waitress returned with steaming coffee, plates clinking as she set them down. Here you go, she said, voice warm. Then she looked at Lily again. You eat, okay? Whatever you're running from can wait 5 minutes. Lily gave a tiny nod. The first sip of coffee burned her tongue a little, but it grounded her. The heat traveled down her chest like it was filling a hollow space. Marcus pushed the syrup toward her. Eat. Lily picked up her fork and stared at the pancakes like they were a puzzle. Then she took a bite, and the strangest thing happened. Her body remembered it was human. For the next few minutes, Lily ate quietly. The food didn't fix her life, but it steadied her hands. Marcus ate too, slow and controlled, like a man who was used to watching everything around him. When the plate was half empty, Lily's voice came out softer. James wasn't always mean, she said. Or maybe he was. I just didn't notice, because everybody kept telling me how lucky I was. Marcus looked at her carefully. Lucky is when love don't feel like fear. Lily's eyes stung again. He said he'd stop paying for my mum's care if I embarrassed him. Marcus's jaw tightened, just for a second. That ain't love, he said quietly. That's control. Lily nodded, tears finally sliding down her cheeks. She wiped them fast, embarrassed, but Marcus didn't look away. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a clean napkin, and slid it across the table without a word. Lily took it, dabbing her eyes. Then she whispered something she hadn't even admitted to herself until now. I think I was about to disappear in that marriage. Marcus's gaze held hers, steady and serious. Then you did the right thing running, he said. A long beat passed, and in that small corner booth, with syrup on the table and a gospel song humming faintly from the kitchen radio, Lily realized something terrifying and beautiful. This stranger had seen her more clearly in 1 hour than her fiancé had seen her in 2 years, and she didn't even know why. The night air outside the diner felt cooler than before, like the world had shifted while Lily was inside eating pancakes and telling the truth. Marcus held the door open for her, letting her step out first. The street was quiet, the kind of quiet that made every sound feel louder, her heels tapping the sidewalk, a distant car engine, the soft rustle of her dress. Lily wrapped her arms around herself. The adrenaline was gone now, and what was left was exhaustion. She hadn't just run from a wedding. She had run from the version of herself that stayed quiet to keep everyone else comfortable. Marcus walked a few steps ahead, then slowed so she didn't have to rush. He didn't talk much, but his presence felt like a guardrail, steady there, keeping her from falling apart. When they reached the taxi, Marcus opened the back door. Get in, he said gently. You need rest. Lily hesitated. Where are we going? Marcus paused like he was measuring his answer. Somewhere safe, he said. A place you can breathe without somebody dragging you back into that church. A cold shiver ran up Lily's spine at the thought of James's face. She climbed into the taxi. As Marcus pulled onto the road, Lily's mind started spinning again. Now that she'd eaten, now that her hands weren't shaking as badly, reality came creeping in. Her phone, her family, her job, the fact that she was sitting in the back of a stranger's cab in a wedding dress at midnight. She leaned forward slightly. Marcus, are you sure this is okay? His eyes met hers in the mirror, calm, focused. You asking permission to exist? He asked quietly. Lily blinked. He didn't wait for her to answer. I'm not dropping you somewhere you can get hurt, Marcus continued. Not tonight. Lily's throat tightened. You don't even know me. Marcus's voice was steady. I know enough. They drove through neighborhoods Lily barely recognized. Streetlights spilled gold onto the asphalt. A few late-night stores were still open. Gas stations, corner shops, a beauty supply with a flickering sign. Lily watched the city pass by like she was watching somebody else's life. Her mind replayed James's words again. Don't expect me to keep paying for your mother's care. Her eyes burned with fury now, not fear. How did I not see him? She murmured. Marcus didn't answer immediately. Then, because you were looking at what you needed him to be. Lily swallowed. A few minutes later, Marcus turned into the parking lot of a small motel. Not dirty, not fancy either. Just quiet, tucked away from the main road, with warm yellow lights glowing outside each door. Lily sat up straighter. A motel? Marcus parked and turned off the engine. It's late. You need a room you can lock from the inside. That sentence hit her harder than she expected. A room you can lock from the inside. Lily didn't realize how much she needed that until he said it. Marcus got out, walked around, and opened her door. Lily stepped out, smoothing her wrinkled dress with trembling fingers. For a second she worried people would stare. But the parking lot was empty, the night quiet. They walked into the small lobby together. A bored man behind the counter barely looked up. Marcus spoke smoothly. One room. The clerk slid a form forward. Name? Marcus didn't even hesitate. Sam. Lily blinked, surprised. The clerk didn't care. He took the card, typed a few things, handed Marcus a key. Marcus led Lily to a room on the far end, away from the road. He unlocked the door and stepped aside. Go in, he said. Lily hovered in the doorway, the light inside spilling onto the concrete. You're not coming in? She asked, voice small. Marcus shook his head. You need space, and I'm not the kind of man who takes advantage of a moment like this. Something about the way he said it, quiet, firm, made Lily's chest ache. She stepped inside. The room smelled clean, like fresh sheets and lemon cleaner. A small lamp glowed near the bed. The curtains were drawn. The world outside felt far away. Lily turned to Marcus. Thank you. Marcus nodded once, like gratitude was something he didn't collect. Then he reached into his pocket and placed a folded piece of paper on the dresser near the door. If you need anything, he said, write down the front desk number. Don't open the door for nobody you don't trust. Lily's heart thumped. What if James finds me? Marcus's eyes darkened, not with anger, but with certainty. Then he'll have to go through me, he said. Lily stared at him, stunned. Marcus stepped back into the hallway. Get some sleep, Lily. He started to walk away. Lily's voice stopped him, trembling in the doorway. Marcus, will you come back? Marcus paused. Then, without turning fully around, he said, Yeah. A beat. I'll come back. And Lily locked the door behind her, finally breathing like she owned her life again. Lily didn't sleep the way people slept in movies. Soft, peaceful, pretty. She slept like somebody who'd been running for years, and finally collapsed. When her eyes opened, sunlight spilled through the motel curtains in thin golden lines, warming the edge of the bed. For a second, she didn't remember where she was. Then she looked down. The wedding dress, the veil tossed over the chair. Her chest tightened. It really happened. She sat up slowly, hair tangled, throat dry, body sore, like she'd fought a battle no one saw. The room was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioner and distant footsteps outside. Lily swung her legs off the bed and stood, wincing at the tightness in her feet. She crossed the room, checked the lock twice, then peeked through the curtain. No James, no family, just a parked truck and a woman loading a cooler into her car like it was any other day. Lily exhaled, shaky. Her stomach turned when she thought about her mother. I have to call her. But then fear rose again. Fear of her mum's tears, fear of disappointment, fear that her family would say she ruined everything. Her hand hovered over the motel phone, and then came a knock. Lily froze. Her whole body went still, every nerve awake. Another knock, gentle, not aggressive. "Lily," a voice called through the door. "It's Marcus." Relief hit her so fast her knees almost gave out. She rushed to the door, paused to double-check the peephole, and saw him standing there holding a paper bag and 2 cups of coffee. Same simple cap, same calm posture, like the world hadn't tried to swallow her yesterday. She unlocked the door just a crack. Marcus lifted the bag slightly. "Breakfast." Lily opened the door wider, embarrassed at how grateful she felt. Marcus stepped in, but only to the doorway. He didn't cross the line. He stayed respectful, like he'd promised. He held out the coffee. "Cream and sugar," I guessed. Lily took it with both hands like it was a lifeline. "Thank you." Marcus glanced at her dress, then away quickly, giving her dignity. "You slept." "A little," Lily admitted. "More like passed out." Marcus nodded like he understood. He set the bag on the small table near the window. Inside were biscuits, eggs, and a wrapped cinnamon roll. Lily's stomach growled again, but this time she didn't feel guilty for being hungry. She felt human. They sat, Lily on the bed, Marcus on the chair by the table, keeping distance like he didn't want to crowd her. The morning light softened his face, and Lily noticed something she hadn't noticed before. Marcus looked tired. Not worked late, tired. More like carrying too much alone, tired. Lily sipped her coffee, then finally asked what had been pressing against her chest since last night. "Why were you out driving a taxi at night?" she asked carefully. "You don't seem like, you know." Marcus's eyes lifted to hers, calm but guarded. "Like what?" "Like you do this for your whole living," Lily said, trying not to sound rude. "You're different." Marcus's mouth twitched, not quite a smile. "Different how?" Lily hesitated. "Like, you're not nosy, you're not rude, you're not trying to get anything from me." Marcus leaned back slightly, gaze drifting to the window. "Most people do," he said quietly. Then he looked back at her. "And they don't even realize it." That answer sat heavy in the air. Lily stared at him, confusion and curiosity mixing together. "Marcus," she said slowly, "what aren't you telling me?" Marcus didn't respond right away. His jaw worked once, like he was chewing on a truth he hadn't planned to share. Then he said, "Right now, the only thing you need to know is you're safe." Lily's throat tightened. "I don't feel safe, not completely." Marcus's eyes softened. "What would make you feel safer?" Lily looked down at her hands. They were steadier today. "I need to call my mum," she whispered, "before the whole city convinces her I'm dead." Marcus nodded immediately. "Do it." Lily glanced at him. "What if she screams at me?" Marcus's voice stayed firm but gentle. "Then she screams," he said, "but she gets to hear your voice." Lily swallowed. Her heart beat hard. She reached for the motel phone, fingers shaking as she dialed the number from memory. It rang once, twice. Then her mother answered, voice shaky and terrified. "Hello?" Lily's lips trembled. "Mum," she whispered. A gasp on the other end. "Oh, Jesus! Lily, where are you?" Lily closed her eyes, tears filling them. "I'm okay," she said. "I'm safe. I'm sorry." Her mother's breath broke. "Baby, what happened?" Lily looked at Marcus across the room. and he didn't interrupt, just watched like a quiet anchor. Lily whispered into the phone, voice cracking but honest. "I didn't run away from you," she said. "I ran away from a life that was going to destroy me." And for the first time, she said it out loud, and it sounded like truth. When Lily hung up the phone, her hands were trembling again. But it wasn't the same kind of trembling as yesterday. Yesterday had been panic. Today was relief mixed with grief. Her mom hadn't screamed. She'd cried. She'd whispered Lily's name like it was a prayer, like she'd been holding her breath since the moment Lily ran. And even through the pain, Lily heard something in her mother's voice she hadn't expected. Understanding. "Your daddy's mad," her mum had admitted softly. "Not because you ran, but because he feels like he failed you." That part sat in Lily's chest like a stone. Now the motel room felt too small for all the feelings crowding in. Lily stared at her wedding dress draped over the chair like a ghost of who she used to be. Marcus watched her quietly, then spoke in that low, steady tone. "You did what you needed to do." Lily let out a shaky laugh that didn't sound happy. "I don't even know who I am without everyone telling me what to do." Marcus nodded slowly, like that was something he understood too well. "Then maybe this is where you start figuring it out," he said. Lily wiped her cheeks with a napkin. "And then what? I just go back to my life like nothing happened?" Marcus didn't answer immediately. He stood, picked up the paper bag, and tossed it in the trash. Then he turned back to her. "I can drive you somewhere," he said. "Somewhere quiet. You can think." Lily hesitated, fear flickering again. "Like where?" Marcus shrugged. "There's a park by the river. It's early, not many people. You can sit, breathe." Lily stared at him. "Why do you keep offering me peace like you have extra?" Marcus's expression didn't change much, but something passed behind his eyes, something older than this moment. "Because I know what it feels like when you don't have any," he said. That was the closest he'd come to a confession. Lily nodded once, then stood slowly. "Okay." She didn't bother putting the dress back on properly. She just threw a long cardigan over it, tied her hair into a messy bun, and slipped on the motel's free sandals, like she was done pretending to be perfect. Marcus waited outside while she checked out, keeping a respectful distance. Then they were back in the taxi. Same cinnamon smell, same soft gospel humming on the radio. Only now Lily noticed something. Marcus's taxi was too clean, too maintained. The steering wheel wasn't worn like most cabs. The seats looked newly detailed, even the dashboard, polished, spotless. Lily narrowed her eyes slightly, but she said nothing. They drove toward the river, sunlight rising higher, turning the city gold. Atlanta looked different in the morning, less sharp, more forgiving, like it had room for people to make mistakes and still start over. Marcus parked near the park entrance, and they walked along a paved path lined with trees. The river moved steady, unbothered by human drama, reflecting the sky like it didn't know heartbreak existed. They found a bench under shade. Lily sat, exhaling deeply. The breeze lifted the loose ends of her veil, still tangled in her hair. Marcus leaned against a nearby railing, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning the water like he was thinking too. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Lily said quietly, "My family is going to hate me for this." Marcus looked at her. "Your family might be hurt. That ain't the same as hate." Lily swallowed. "But they needed the money." Marcus's eyes sharpened slightly. "Your family needed help. That man used that need to buy you." Lily's chest rose. "I just wanted to save my mum." Marcus's voice softened. "And you still can." Lily turned her head, confused. "How?" Marcus didn't answer right away. He looked away toward the river again, like he was choosing his words carefully. You can save her, he said, without sacrificing yourself. Lily's eyes filled again. That sounds nice, Marcus, but life doesn't work like that. Marcus finally turned fully toward her. His gaze was steady, calm, serious. Sometimes, he said quietly, life only starts working different when you stop accepting the rules that break you. Lily stared at him, speechless, because the way he said it, like he'd lived it, made her feel like maybe it wasn't just a pretty line. Maybe Marcus knew something about escaping cages, and maybe he'd been waiting for someone else to understand. Lily's voice came small. Who are you really? Marcus didn't flinch. He just looked at her for a long moment and said, Right now, I'm the man who got you out. And Lily didn't know why, but that answer felt like both a comfort and a warning. The river breeze followed Lily back into the taxi, but it didn't carry peace anymore. It carried questions. Lily sat in the back seat watching Marcus's hands on the wheel, steady, careful, like he had all the time in the world. He drove like somebody who didn't rush for anybody, like he wasn't afraid of being late, and that didn't match taxi driver in Lily's mind. Most cab drivers she'd met were impatient, loud, always hustling. Marcus wasn't any of those things. He didn't ask for her number, didn't flirt in a cheap way, didn't make her feel like she owed him for kindness. He just kept showing up. They rode in silence for a while. Atlanta passed by in sunlit blocks, graffiti walls, coffee shops, office towers. Lily's wedding dress was hidden under her cardigan now, but she still felt exposed. Finally, Marcus pulled into a quiet strip mall parking lot. There's a little boutique over there, he said. Nothing fancy. You can get out of that dress. Lily's cheeks heated. I don't have money for that. Marcus reached into his pocket and placed folded cash on the center console. Lily stared at it like it might bite. Marcus, no. Lily, he cut in gently, not harsh. It's not charity. You can pay me back whenever you want. She hesitated. Then she realized something. He didn't say if, he said whenever, like he already believed she'd be all right. Lily took the cash slowly. I don't even know you. Marcus's eyes met hers in the mirror. You know enough to know you deserve clean clothes and a clear head. Lily swallowed. She stepped out, went into the boutique, and came back 20 minutes later, wearing simple jeans, a soft cream sweater, and sneakers. Her hair was brushed. Her face was still puffy from crying, but she looked more like herself. The dress was folded in a bag like a chapter she wasn't ready to throw away yet. When she got back into the taxi, Marcus glanced at her and nodded once. Better, he said. Lily let out a small breath. Yeah, better. Marcus started driving again, heading toward the edge of downtown. Lily watched the buildings rise taller. The traffic grew thicker, and then she saw it, a massive billboard above the road. Sleek black background, gold lettering, a photo of a man in a sharp suit, his expression calm and powerful. The headline read, KingTech announces new CEO return. Marcus King. Lily's heart dropped into her stomach so fast she almost choked. Her eyes widened, because the face on that billboard was Marcus. Her mouth went dry. She leaned forward like getting closer would change what she was seeing. But it didn't. Same jawline, same eyes, same calm intensity, just dressed differently, richer, sharper, untouchable. Lily's breath hitched. Marcus, she whispered. He didn't look up, not even when the taxi passed directly beneath the billboard. Lily's pulse raced. No, 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 no! She grabbed her phone out of instinct, but then remembered it was still missing. Her fingers clenched into her lap. Stop the car, she said suddenly, voice tight. Marcus's hands didn't change on the wheel. Why? Stop, Lily repeated, louder now. Right now. Marcus sighed softly, then pulled over near the curb. The moment the car stopped, Lily shoved the door open and stepped out into the bright sunlight. She stood on the sidewalk like her legs didn't belong to her. Marcus got out slowly too, walking around the taxi but not too close, like he knew she needed space. Lily pointed up at the billboard, trembling. "That's you," she said, voice cracking. "That's you." Marcus's eyes flicked upward for half a second, just enough to confirm it, then returned to her. He didn't lie, he didn't pretend, he just stood there, quiet. Lily's chest rose and fell too fast. "You told me you were a taxi driver." Marcus spoke carefully. "I told you my name." Lily blinked hard, tears threatening again, this time not from sadness but from shock. "Are you rich?" she whispered, like saying it too loud would make it real. Marcus didn't smile, he didn't brag, he didn't soften it. "Yes," he said simply. Lily staggered back a step like the truth had weight. All her thoughts collided at once. The motel, the cash, the calm, the way he moved like nothing could touch him. She stared at him, hurt, rising fast. "Why didn't you tell me?" she demanded. "Why did you let me sit in your car crying like a fool while you pretended to be regular?" Marcus's jaw tightened, not angry, but controlled. "I wasn't pretending," he said quietly. "I was trying to be invisible." Lily's eyes burned. "Why?" Marcus's gaze held hers, steady and honest. "Because I'm tired," he admitted, voice low. "Tired of people seeing the money before they see me." Lily shook her head, tears slipping out anyway. "But I didn't even get a choice," she whispered. "You decided what I deserved to know." Marcus took one slow step closer, stopping at a respectful distance. "I didn't plan to meet you like this," he said. "But when you got in that back seat, you didn't need a billionaire." His voice softened. "You needed someone safe." Lily stared at him, heart cracking in two directions, because part of her wanted to run again, and part of her wanted to believe him. Lily didn't get back into the taxi. Not right away. She stood on the sidewalk with the sun beating down, her hands shaking, her mind spinning like the city traffic. The billboard felt like it was laughing at her, like the universe had set her up with a cruel joke. Runaway bride meets kind taxi driver. Except he's not a taxi driver, he's Marcus King, a name big enough to take up a skyline. Lily stared at him, chest tight. "So what? This was all an experiment?" Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. "No." "Then what was it?" Lily snapped, anger flaring because it was easier than fear. "Because it feels like you played me, like you watched me fall apart and decided I was some interesting story." Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't move in closer. He just exhaled like he'd been expecting this. "I didn't watch you fall apart," he said quietly. "I helped you stand back up." Lily's lips trembled. "You don't get it. I've been controlled my whole life. My family, James, everybody always deciding what I should do. And now you," her voice broke, "you decided what I deserved to know." Marcus's jaw flexed once. The calm was still there, but Lily could tell she'd hit something sensitive. "I didn't hide it to control you," he said. "I hid it because it changes everything." Lily laughed, bitter. "Yeah, it does." She turned away, wiping her eyes fast, refusing to cry in front of him again. Behind her, cars whooshed past. People walked by without recognizing the billionaire standing on the street like an ordinary man. Lily faced him again. "So what now, Marcus? You drop me off with a little good luck and go back to your penthouse?" Marcus's gaze held hers. "What do you want now?" That question stopped her, because for once, somebody wasn't telling her what to do. Still, her pride rose up like armor. "I want space," she said sharply. "I want to breathe without wondering if you're buying my life behind my back. Marcus's expression shifted, subtle but real. Okay, he said. That was it. No argument, no guilt trip, no dramatic chase. Just, okay. And somehow that made Lily's throat tighten even more. Marcus reached into the taxi and grabbed the bag with her folded dress and veil. He stepped forward and placed it in her hands carefully, like it was something precious. You can keep that, he said. Or burn it, whatever you need. Lily gripped the bag, swallowing hard. Marcus pulled out a simple business card and held it out. Lily didn't take it. I'm not trying to trap you, Marcus said, voice low. But if you need help, real help, you call. Lily stared at the card like it was a weapon. I don't need your help, she lied. Marcus nodded slowly, like he could tell it was a lie, but wasn't going to shame her for it. All right, he said again. Then he turned and walked back toward the taxi. Lily watched him, stunned. You're just leaving? She demanded. Marcus paused by the driver's door. He looked back at her, eyes steady. You asked for space, he said. I'm respecting that. Lily's chest rose fast. Anger, confusion, and something softer tangled together. Marcus. He waited. Lily opened her mouth, but the words she wanted to say didn't come. Because the truth was, she did want space, but she also didn't want to feel abandoned. That contradiction made her head hurt. Marcus nodded once, like he understood without her explaining. Then he got into the taxi and started the engine. Lily stood there, holding her wedding dress bag, feeling like she'd just shut a door she wasn't sure she wanted closed. The taxi pulled away from the curb and merged into traffic. Lily watched it disappear, and the moment it did, the world came rushing back. Here comes the end of Season 1. If you're interested in Mr. Hope Season 2, and comment your favorite moment so far. I will see you all in my next video.